팬분들을 모시고 중계를 하고 싶다라는 그런 욕심들이 많았는데요. 여러분들과 함께 이 멋진 경기를 지켜볼 수 있는 그 시간을 바라도록 하겠습니다.
나의 레벨은 다르다. 어나더 레벨 핫섹스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌 14 24강 개막전 경기로 함께합니다. 안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 지난 시즌 테란의 빛으로 거듭난 이재호 선수의 우승 이후에 더더욱 뜨거워진 스타크래프트의 열기를 타고 ASL의 새로운 시즌이 시작됐습니다. 7월 23일과 24일 양일간 펼쳐졌던 치열했던 예선을 통해서 이번 시즌 본선에 오른 24명의 선수들이 모두 추려졌는데요. 특히나 이번 시즌은 24강부터 현장 관람객분들을 모시고 진행할 수 있어서 더욱더 새롭습니다. 과연 팬분들과 함께 또 어떤 새로운 이야기가 써내려지게 될지 무척 기대되는데요. 그 첫 번째 페이지를 장식할 선수들 만나서 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 선수들 함께 하시죠. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 자, 먼저 변현재 선수. 잘 지내셨나요?
네, 잘 지내고 있었어요.
예선을 굉장히 오랜만에 치른 1티어의 변현재 선수입니다.
네.
보니까 시즌 11 때 예선을 치르시고 쭉 시드권을 확보를 하셨어서 예선을 치를 때 좀 느낌이 남달라셨을 것 같은데요. 어떠셨어요?
예선을 치르고 지금 24강을 해야 되는데 지금 이걸 보니까 시대의 소중함을 또다시 한번 느낀 것 같아요.
그때 예선이 끝나고 공지를 통해서 변현재 선수가 하신 말씀은 대기 시간이 길어서 힘들었다 이런 얘기를 하셨더라고요.
근데 제가 보통 잠을 아침에 자는데 이제 경기가 이제 낮에 하다 보니까 좀 피곤한 상태에서 기다리는 게 좀 힘들었거든요.
잠을 못 주무신 상태였음에도 불구하고 패배 없이 예선을 뚫고 올라오셨어요. 예선을 치르면서 욕심이 더 생기셨을 것 같다라는 생각이 들었거든요.
그렇죠. 이번에는 어떻게든 다시 시드는 다시 따야 된다고 생각을 하고 있어요.
또 욕심이 바짝 오른 변현재 선수와 함께 또 임진묵 선수와도 인사를 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
오랜만에 본선 무대에 복귀하신 임진묵 선수입니다. 소감이 어떠신가요?
너무 오랜만이라서 그냥 얼떨떨하고 그냥 오늘 너무 재밌을 것 같아갖고 좀 기대가 많이 돼요.
예선 1일차 비록 좀 패배는 하셨지만 이재동 선수와의 경기 정말 많은 팬분들에게 깊은 인상을 좀 남겨주신 임진묵 선수인데요. 2일차 예선을 뚫어내고 나서는 또 좀 감회가 남다르셨을 것 같아요.
또 그때 좀 몸이 좀 안 좋았어가지고 아무 생각 없이 그냥 편하게 했는데 또 어떻게 또 올라가지더라고요. 그래가지고 오늘도 좀 아무 생각 없이 하려고요.
아무 생각 없이 경기를 펼치시기에는 첫 번째 상대가 뭘 할지 모르는 변현재 선수거든요. 또 추억이 있잖아요. 그 사랑의 배터리 경기가 있었던. 오늘 첫 번째 경기 어떠실 것 같아요?
그 사랑의 배터리 제작자가 저예요.
네.
제 생일날 얘가 저한테 쓴 거거든요.
네네네.
군대에 있을 때. 그때부터 좀 악연이 계속 이어지고 있어요. 네, 오늘 같은 경우 현재랑 또 되게 돈독한 사이인데 오늘 분명히 초반부터 괴롭힐 거란 말이에요.
어때요? 변현재 선수 이야기도 좀 들어볼까요? 눈을 이렇게 지그시 감으시고 임진묵 선수의 답변을 듣고 계셨는데 첫 번째 경기 좀 어떤 계획을 갖고 계실지 말씀해 주실 수 있는 부분까지만 좀 부탁을 드려볼까요?
근데 진묵 형이
네.
초반에 이제 다른 선수들에 비해서 초반을 더 잘해요. 이제 초반에 유닛도 이제 좀 더 집중해서 잘 쓰는 스타일이고 좀 하나하나 소중하게 쓰는 스타일이라서 너무 잘 막는 선수라고 생각해요, 저는.
일단 서로를 굉장히 견제하고 인정하는 답변을 좀 들어봤는데 이번에는 도재욱 선수와도 인사를 나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
쉽지 않은 예선을 거치고 올라온 도재욱 선수입니다. 24강 또 팬분들과 함께하는 무대에 또 올라오셨는데 앞둔 기분이 어떠신가요?
이번에도 예선부터 되게 쉽지 않았는데 이렇게 좀 그래도 올라와서 다행이다 생각하고 이렇게 오랜만에 또 관중분들이랑 같이 게임을 하다 보니까 좀 더 설레는 것도 있는 것 같아요.
도재욱 선수의 ASL 최근 시즌들의 성적을 좀 살펴보면 시즌 10과 11에서는 8강에 또 진출하시면서 역시나 우승 후보다라고 많이 거론을 하셨는데 사실 이전 시즌 조금은 개인적으로도 아쉬우셨을 것 같아요. 그래서 이번 시즌에 대한 각오가 또 어떨지도 궁금하거든요.
솔직히 냉정하게 말씀드리면 저는 이제 우승 후보는 아니라고 생각하고요. 이제 뭐 팬분들이 많이 아쉬워할 수도 있겠지만 그러면은 하나하나 제 앞에 주어진 것만 열심히 하자는 마인드로 다시 임하고 있습니다.
그래서 첫 시작이 진짜 중요할 것 같거든요. 오늘은 첫 시작에 대한 예감은 어떠신가요?
일단은 제가 예훈이랑 많이 만나요. 되게 ASL에서. 근데 결과는 제가 다 좋았었거든요. 그래서
네.
오늘도 그 결과가 이어갔으면 좋겠어요.
자, 아무래도 또 도재욱 선수와의 상대 전적에서 조금은 밀리고 있을 우리 이혜훈 선수와도 이야기를 나눠보겠습니다. 이혜훈 선수 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
예선을 이 본선 무대를 살펴보면 지난 시즌 24강과 종족이 같더라고요.
네.
프로토스 2명에 테란 1명
네.
이렇게 경기를 펼치게 되셨는데 이번 시즌 24강 조에 대한 생각을 좀 들어볼까요?
저번 시즌부터 제가 예선을 되게 힘들게 올라왔는데 24강 조도 좀 끔찍하더라고요. 저번 시즌도 그렇고 이번 시즌도 그렇고 제
네.
입장에서는 되게 힘든 조가 나온 것 같아서 좀 그냥 편하게 하려고요. 네.
아무래도 지난 시즌 24강에서도 최종전에서 좀 힘들게 경기를 펼치셨던 기억이 있어서 좀 긴장을 하고 계실 것 같은데 첫 상대가 또 도재욱 선수입니다. 말씀하셨던 것처럼 도재욱 선수와 여러 번의 경기를 펼쳤지만 이혜훈 선수는 그때마다 조금은 좀 어렵지 않았나 하는 생각도 드는데 그래서 더 좀 동기부여가 되지 않나요, 톱스전?
제가 많이 지기는 했는데 그래도 많이 맞아봐서 그런지 좀 긴장은 덜 되는 것 같아요.
어떻게 때릴지 조금 느낌이 온다라는 느낌인가요?
그렇죠. 네.
어느 정도 도재욱 선수를 분석하고 왔다라는 이혜훈 선수의 답변이 좀 인상적인데요. 본격적으로 또 팬분들의 질문을 함께 나눠보겠습니다. 자, 오랜만에 또 현장 관람객분들을 모시고 경기를 펼치게 됐는데 아무래도 도재욱 선수는 감회가 조금 더 남다를 것 같습니다. 워낙 온라인에서만 강한 도재욱인가 이런 이야기를 듣다가 또 오프라인 무대 팬분들의 에너지를 느끼면서 또 이런 부분 극복해 나갈 수 있지 않을까요? 어때요?
일단은 오랜만에 이제 팬분들 이렇게 관중에서 봐서 너무 좋고 이게 앞으로 계속 보고 싶은데 제가 열심히 해야겠죠? 네, 너무 좋아요, 근데.
너무 좋다. 임진목 선수는 어떠세요? 오랜만에 본선 무대인데 팬분들까지 함께 계셔서 약간 긴장감이 더 증폭되진 않나요?
저는 원래 해설을 하러 많이 왔죠. 예, 해설을 지금도 하고 있는데 뭐 오랜만에 그냥 이렇게 하는데 긴장은 전혀 1도 안 돼가지고 지금
네.
너무 그냥 오늘 하루가 재밌을 것 같아가지고.
재밌을 것 같다. 재밌는 경기를 또 팬분들도 기다리고 계실 것 같은데 다음으로 또 팬분들이 남겨주신 질문입니다. A조 누가 16강에 가도 이상하지 않을 조다라는 평가가 또 있습니다. 각 분들에게 좀 여쭤보고 싶네요. 본인을 제외하고 어떤 선수가 또 16강에 A조에서 올라갈 것 같은지 우리 이혜훈 선수의 답변을 좀 먼저 들어볼까요?
그냥 누가 많은 분들이 그 예상하시듯이 변현재 도재욱 선수가 좀 올라갈 확률이 높을 것 같아서 생각이 들어요.
지금 답변을 하면서 계속 좀 웃음을 참지 못하고 계시는데 진심이 아니라는 뜻으로 받아들여도 될까요?
아니요, 진심입니다.
이혜훈 선수가 아무래도 좀 필살기를 준비해오고 연막을 치는 게 아닌가 하는 생각도 살짝은 드는데 변현재 선수의 생각은 어떠세요? 오늘 16강 진출 어떤 선수가 하게 될까요?
솔직히 많은 분들이 제가 진출할 거라 생각하는데 제가 저번 시즌 16강에서 첫 조에서 빨리 떨어졌잖아요. 그 이후에 좀 경기가 없고 제가 오랜만에 이제 또 여기 오프라인에서 경기를 하니까 좀 긴장이 되더라고요. 손도 이제 땀도 많이 나고 그래서 좀 힘들 것 같은데 저 말고는 재욱이 형이 가장 확률이 높지 않을까.
도재욱 선수의 생각은 어떤가요? 변현재 선수는 지금 좀 긴장을 하고 있어서 모르겠다. 도재욱 선수가 올라갈 것 같다라고 하셨거든요.
현재는 일단 16강 이름 바꿔 시작하고 저희 남은 3명이서 이제 열심히 해서 이제 뭐 한 명 결정해봐야죠.
네. 임진목 선수의 생각도 들어볼까요? 전혀 긴장하고 있지 않은.
그러니까 장윤철 선수가 저를 올라갈 확률이 2%라고 이제 하더라고요.
장펠레 선수가요.
네, 2%.
네네.
2%면 많이 쳐준 거거든요. 제가 봤을 때 그래가지고 저도 올라갔고 이렇게인데 그냥 한 10%는 되는 것 같아요. 10, 70, 20.
또 해설가로서 굉장히 분석적인 수치를
네.
보여주셨는데 과연 어떤 경기가 펼쳐질지도 기대가 됩니다. ASL의 열기가 이번 시즌 유독 좀 뜨겁게 느껴지는 이유가 아마 대학대전인 것 같은데요. 대학 컨텐츠에 대한 질문이 또 팬분들께 올라왔습니다. 스타 대학판이 생겨나기 시작하면서 또 현재 굉장히 마음가짐에서 많은 좀 달라짐이 있었을 것 같다라는 질문인데요. 아무래도 또 여러 대학에서 활동을 하고 계시기에 체감이 좀 되실 것 같은데 어떠신가요? 변현재 선수는?
제가 저번 시즌 빨리 떨어졌잖아요. 근데 이제 윤종이 형이 이제 하는 얘기가 이제 그 대학에서 이제 학생들이 이제 경기를 같이 보잖아요. 그래서 본인이 최대한 높게 올라가려고 한다라고 하는 걸 듣고 저도 좀 최대한 높게 올라가고 싶은 욕심이 생긴 것 같아요.
또 응원을 든든하게 받을 수 있는 좋은 또 대학이 생겨가지고 이혜원 선수도 좀 힘이 나실 것 같아요. 또 CP에서 활동하고 계신 이혜원 선수 준비 과정에서 확실히 도움을 많이 받고 계시죠?
도움을 좀 받으려고 했는데 저희 대학교가 오늘 대학대전이 있어요. 2시간 뒤에. 그래가지고 제가 도움을 주고 왔거든요. 예, 제 경기보다 더 열심히 준비를 해가지고 저는 오늘 열심히 할 건데 대학대전은 꼭 이겨줬으면 좋겠어요.
또 동료들을 생각하는 마음까지. 또 도재욱 선수와 임진묵 선수는 바스포드 대학 또 같은 대학에서 활동하고 계시는데 준비는 어떻게 또 하셨나요? 임진묵 선수 어떻게 하셨어요?
저는 그냥 어제 잠깐 저도 이제 대학교 생활을 하다가 어제 김정우 선수랑 윤수철 선수, 배병호 선수 이렇게만 이렇게 잠깐 했습니다.
도재욱 선수는요?
저는 일단 좀 약간 그 정신적인 건강을 좀 약간 차리는 데 약간 집중했고 그 대학에서 많이 다들 연락을 주시더라고요. 열심히 하라고. 그래서 학생들이 이제 이렇게 오프라인 경험이 많이 없다 보니까 제가 좀 올라가서 이 오프라인 이렇게 좋은 거다라는 걸 좀 알려주고 싶어요.
또 선배로서의 마음까지. 오늘 네 분이 워낙 동기부여가 잘 되신 것 같아서 치열한 경기가 펼쳐질 것으로 좀 예상이 되는데요. 끝으로 각오를 짧게 한 말씀씩 청해 듣겠습니다. 마이크를 먼저 잡고 계신 도재욱 선수부터 들어볼까요?
네, 제가 또 이제 이렇게 ASL 전 시즌 또 진출했더라고요. 근데 그거에 비해서 성적이 좋지가 않은데 이번 시즌은 좀 더 잘해서 좋은 성적 내고 싶습니다.
좋습니다. 임진묵 선수
오늘 재밌는 게임 보여드리겠습니다.
기대하겠습니다. 이혜원 선수
저도 오늘 재밌는 게임 보여드리도록 노력하겠습니다.
네, 변현재 선수
저도 꼭 진출할 수 있는 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
네 분의 개막전 멋진 모습 기대하겠습니다. 인터뷰 고맙습니다. 네, 나의 레벨은 다르다. 어나더 레벨 핫식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌 14 24강 개막전 경기. 과연 어떤 선수들이 가장 먼저 16강에 이름을 올릴 수 있을지 지금부터 경기 함께 만나보시죠.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Season 14 of the ASL. Tastosis is with me today. I am sick with COVID. I have been plagued. I have 1% HP, but I hope I can make it through this cast.
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. I'm so sorry to hear, Tasteless. I tell you, when I had it, I was not going to be doing any casts during that time. But so you are quite the trooper indeed. But yeah, here we are. It's season 14. I'm so excited to finally get started on this. I've been waiting for 14 all year long, and it looks like a great one.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I know we had a little bit of delays here to get this started. There was a personal issue with the person who uploads the VODs for us. That's all in the past now, so we're here. We're excited. And we're going to be starting off with a big bang. The lineup is sick for this ASL.
Oh, absolutely. Indeed it is. And, of course, a big prize pool. As you can see, the schedule here, we are going to be ripping through the tournament. It's all going to be over in October. Now, yeah, you mentioned that this is a very strong group. You know, we have Mini in the group here tonight, right? And he's got to be one of the big favorites of the tournament.
And let's not forget that Mini had faltered in the last ASL. This was the guy that was, you know, one of the focal point players of the entire tournament. And he got a little cocky, I think a little bit overconfident, and he paid for it.
Well, I mean, when you literally have your choice of who to play against and you choose Light, who is literally a level above every Terran in the world except for Flash, I mean, that's insane, man. And it did not pay off for him even one little bit, with Light taking home the trophy last season.
It's one of those things where if you pull it off, you look like a genius, but if you don't, you look like a moron. And so I think, especially in this ASL, I'm going to have my eye on him. I'm really curious to see how far he's going to go, because losing like that's embarrassing, it's humiliating, and of course you want to come back from that.
Yeah, now take a look at this map pool just real quick, guys. Sylphid is back. Neo Arkanoid, a very old map, is back. Odyssey, a new map. Nemesis, new map. And, of course, Butter 2, Allegro, and Vermeer. So a very interesting map pool. We'll be diving more deeply into some of these. I think you guys mostly probably know Sylphid. This says Sylphid 3, so it seems like there's going to be like a small update to it. Probably terrain-wise. And here is our list of players. We're a little bit light on Protoss this season. Rain did end up pulling out of the tournament. I heard that he actually has an injury right now, like a wrist injury or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, actually. I made up the wrist part, but I heard that that's why.
I had actually heard about the wrist part, but I mean, Rain is sort of like the Japanese...
Oh, is it a wrist injury? Is it?
No, I don't know. I had not heard of a wrist injury, but I was just going to say, Rain is like the Japanese RPG character that only appears in certain parts of the game, like Shadow in Final Fantasy VI. Where, like, he's like there in certain StarCraft events, and then he performs really well, and then he, like, ninja jumps out, and we don't know when he's going to return. And that's perfectly in line with Rain. I mean, he's a big-time streamer. If he is injured, I wish him the best. I hope he recovers. But he does just stop playing or just stream, do Let's Play streams as well. So he's not here, but I think our Protoss lineup, although albeit small, is pretty strong regardless.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now, take a look at these round of 24 groups. Of course, do an A today. Do any groups stand out to you as being, like, really badass?
You know, honestly, and I know this is like a real caster thing to say, I feel like they're all really good. I would say that there is no group, to me personally, that I am watering at the mouth at. But that's because I think they're all pretty well balanced out. Would you agree with that?
I think Group C is pretty crazy, to be honest. Like Royal, Sharp, and Sulky in there, like that's pretty insane. But I mean Queen, not Sulky. Sorry. But anyways, we can talk about those groups more later when we're casting them. Group A here today: Mini, Best, Sacsri, and Oregon. And I mean, those tiers are pretty descriptive of how we're probably going to expect for this group to go. But I do want to say I could see Saxory making upsets. Like, Saxory is very, very good, and he has a slightly aggressive style. So if he wiggles his way through this group, I'm not going to be, like, overly surprised.
Yeah, Saxory is a guy that you never want to underestimate. I've casted so many of Saxory's games where he just comes out so strong, and I kind of go, oh, okay, well, you know, I guess you kind of can beat anybody on your good day. Oregon, I think, probably can't make it out, but that would be exciting if he did. Look, I think he's going to be the Terran crash dummy in this group, especially when you have Mini and Best here. Let's also keep in mind, Mini versus Best. Not this last ASL, but the one before that, that was where Mini completely cheesed Best out.
Yeah, that's very true. Best kind of played a little bit silly during that, though, as well. This first match is going to be Mini, the top seed, going up against Oregon, a.k.a. Piano, the bottom seed of this group. Oregon, or Piano, is someone who's been in a fair amount of ASLs. He's a well-known, well-respected player. He does a lot of commentary nowadays, especially in the KCM Race Survivor series. And he generally has a pretty cheesy style. So I would give him a little bit of a chance here, even against our Protoss Beasts. But just a little bit.
Yeah. Going up against Oregon here, Oregon's one of the ASL I guess not mainstays, but he makes very regular appearances here. And this guy's been around for an extremely long time. He's very, very old school. I think a lot of people, whether you've been watching StarCraft since the beginning or you've just become a fan in the last year or two, it's easy to forget that this guy is super old school. I don't think he ever had the kind of breakout performance that, a lot of these other players that we're very, very familiar with have had. But he is very experienced. He's not new to this at all. And who knows, every season of ASL, that's a new opportunity where maybe he can actually prove himself. And maybe we're going to see that start right here, right now. It looks like we're ready to go into Game 1. Mini versus Oregon, a PVT to start off Season 14 of the ASL.
All right, so we have Mini in the bottom right there, and in the top right we have Oregon. It is Butter. We had this last season. Very cool map. In fact, it says that it is Butter 2, so some slight updates to it. But being a two-player map, it does open up this whole realm of possibility as far as aggression, as far as cheesing and offensive gas. That's very, very normal to see in Protoss vs. Terran. And I think we'll probably see that from Mini, but he's going to send a probe pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, you can also proxy gate. That's a little bit less trendy nowadays, but I think it's going to be a thing that we're going to just see oscillate year to year, depending on what Protosses think are good. So this is going to be Pylon first. Pylon and natural entrance into probably a gas steal, probably with a very forwarded gate.
Yeah, I think you're most likely right on that. I think that this is the better way to play. You're right. The proxy gateway itself has actually fallen out of favor quite a bit. I think it's because Eclipse has been around for so long. Everyone is so used to dealing with proxy gates that no one's really taking damage from them anymore, to be honest. It's like pretty rare. Like they have to really mess up.
Yeah, it feels like you need to have a lot of maps rotated in and out in order for that to really kind of be strong, and especially if there's only like one big one-on-one map that you're always dealing with, then it's just, Terrans get very good at dealing with that, right? Like the more times you get proxied, the better you get at trying to fight it off.
Now, this initial pressure from the probe, this is literally, he's the best I've ever seen at this point. Like the probe harassment. Also, he got the gas as late as you can really get it. He got it at like 141, which is right before Terran takes it. Like literally, he waited. He didn't skip any probes. You can see how optimized this is, which is something that Mini's become so good at. And you can see how like 2 SCVs are pulled to deal with this. He's having to repair. He's trying to attack the probe. And now throws a barracks down in the center of the map. This is strong counterplay against what Mini's doing if he doesn't realize it's happening.
Yeah, so one thing from the Protoss' perspective you're supposed to be looking for here is if an SCV left the base and didn't scout you. Now, I have to imagine Mini would be pretty on top of that, right? But I see the Zealot moving across the map now, which tells me he may not be aware of this.
Yeah, I don't think he knows right yet. Like, Terran always banks minerals at this point anyways because they can't take their gas, so you don't really know if they snuck an SCV out and you didn't realize it, there could be a barracks on the map. So right now, I'm actually quite liking this position for Oregon. Like, he's going to be able to build up a decent amount of Marines over there, and if Mini hasn't figured it out, he's not going to be ready.
Yeah, and keep in mind that right now what Terran really wants to do is try to end this game pretty quickly here. It's going to be a Marine SCV pull, and, well, maybe not. He's going to take his gas here, but, again, you could still do a pretty aggro play, especially against an expanding Protoss. If the Protoss...
Yeah, one thing to...
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, please.
I was just going to mention that one thing here is that he aggressively took down the gas on purpose to hide what he's doing. Because he wants you to think that he wants to get gas, but he actually doesn't. Like, he needs his minerals right now, and as you can see, he's building depots out on the map to hide how much supply he has. So this is, like, some very brilliant stuff. Oregon is going to be completely all in, and honestly, I think he has a very decent chance of killing Mini here.
Even the bunker is a
like,
fake.
look at that! Oh, it's so good.
Okay, he's going to come in here now. And there's some brilliance, by the way, to just having the SCV that's out on the map make the depots. That hadn't really occurred to me. I mean, that way you can use every other SCV to either fight in your main or mine minerals. And this is a lot of kills over here, man. Oh, my God. Even trapping that Zealot back there.
Oh, but he makes a cannon. Now, the cannon would be good against what he's seen, but the extra Marines coming in, like, it's hard to kill a cannon, man, but there's like 6 or 7 Marines on the side, so one cannon is not going to do it. 2 cannons, okay, but the second cannon, I don't know if it's going to be up in time.
Yeah, he has to know there's a hidden barracks, though, right? I mean, you wouldn't just assume Terran doesn't have anything, but those Marines are going to come down now. Now, again, this is all going to be decided within a second or two here. Either Terran topples the Protoss or Protoss defends this and then is just economically so ahead, you might as well surrender.
Yeah, and look at this, getting in on top of everything. The probes pushing everything back. That one photon cannon getting a huge amount of kills. As the second one warps in, this rush is almost over. The SCV's trying to get on top of it, and Oregon is going to be destroyed here.
This was a masterful performance here by Mini. Talk about really just doing the amazing balance act here. There's no way for Terran to recover now. There it is, GG.
Yep.
Beautifully done. You know, not exactly the most complex game like that I was hoping for. You know, we don't have any macroing, no tech, but I'll tell you, man, I think Oregon had a very good setup. There were a lot of big ideas there. The problem is that I think Mini had too much of a good read overall in the situation and knew you don't need to get gas if you expand right away. Get a cannon, just hold the all in. It all just comes down to that.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to say, like, it was really smart of Oregon to pull SCVs and focus on taking down the gas, but I think Mini read this situation correctly when he dived in and saw the gas hadn't been taken.
Yeah.
If you're killing the gas that quick and you don't take it instantly, then something crazy is going on. Like you were cheesing in some way. When
he retook his own gas, right? He actually canceled that after he chased
I don't think he actually even... I don't think he started the refinery. Like, I think he killed the assimilator, and then the SCVs kind of danced for a moment, and then Mini came back in with Zealots and saw no refinery there. So I think that's where Mini's like, okay, I need cannons.
All right, well, the first game of ASL Season 14 is a short one. It's one where Mini comes out on top, but that's going to have to be one of many if he's going to get back to that ASL Finals like we saw before. Guys, short break. We come back. Best versus Saxory is coming up next.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탐스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
아침은 라떼, 헐릭 점심은 라떼, 헐릭 저녁엔 라떼, 헐릭 든든하게 달콤하게 라떼 헐릭. 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 헐릭.
형님들 아프리카에 승부 예측 생긴 거 아세요, 여러분들?
아니 e스포츠 여기 탭에 있잖아요, 여러분들. 아니 이게 새로 생겼더라.
저는 광동에 올인했어요. 아 진짜요? 네. 아 그럼 전 DRX에 올인.
모바일도 똑같이 아래 가운데 보면 e스포츠 있어요. 잼이라는 포인트가 있어요. 아프리카 내에서 쓸 수 있는 재화라고 생각하시면 돼요.
잼을 사은품으로 교환 가능하다고요?
이 잼으로 응모를 다 할 수 있어. 키보드는 벌써 나갔네.
아이폰 갤럭시 탭. 아 이게 200잼이야?
교환까지 할 수 있으니까 형님들 아프리카 승부 예측 많이 많이 사랑 부탁드립니다. 박수 부탁드립니다.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Before we go into our second best of one to start off Group A, we want to say, guys, thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. If you guys have been enjoying the ASL and you want to support Tastosis, me, and the rest of the people that make this happen, like the translators, the editors, go there. This is the best way to help us out and help ASL out.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that, because ASL is such an important tournament to us. We are just giddy to finally be back casting some of it, and I mean, we've had a nice start, right? Like we had some crazy cheese happening, kind of on both sides there. A great hold by Mini making those cannons. And we were talking a lot about it on the break, about how, like, yep, this is the ladder experience due to Eclipse, right? Like,
this is what you have been dealing with for what it's now been over a year since Blizzard has changed the maps, but everybody's had their gas stolen, and everybody's been Marine SCV Rush at this point in time, and it's happening at the highest level of ASL as well.
Yeah, so our pain is their pain also. Good to see, a little bit cathartic to watch Marines and SCVs die to cannons that are warping in. But here we go into the next match. We're going to have Best here going up against Sacsri. And I mean, a best of one between Best and Sacsri, this really can go either way. And that puts us into this huge world of danger, right? Like where Best is someone who I feel like this guy should eventually win an ASL. He's so good, but he doesn't really perform that well in ASL for whatever reason that might be. So I feel like there is some serious potential for upset.
The way I describe Best is that, he is such a strong player, but not a good tournament player. He's great in these big, matchups that they have online against the very best other pro gamers. Obviously, he's phenomenal at ranked matches, but when it comes to like navigating a bracket, it doesn't seem like Best always picks out the ideal builds. He doesn't approach. I think this one's not a series, but you know what I'm saying. He doesn't approach a series that well. So hopefully he can refine that, because Saxory is a very deadly Zerg to go against. Oh, and we're ready to get in this game. All right, guys, this is game 2 in Group A. Best for Saxory here in the ASL Season 14.
All right, so we have Best there in the top right and Sacsri in the bottom right. Two-player map, of course. There are some cheeses that can occur on a two-player map in PvZ, but they're really sneaky and not that good. Things like sending a probe out a little bit earlier and trying to get a delayed cannon rush off, that type of thing I've seen here. But, I feel like we're going to be watching more closely what Sacsri is doing rather than Best.
Yeah, I think most likely, unless Best has any big surprises here for us. Butter's been a fun map to explore. I think it could be a pretty down and dirty PvZ map where we go into late game if you're not able to kill each other off early. I think both sides have a lot of turtling potential there. We do have a scout after Pylon, which is usually an indicator of a Forge First or some kind of trickery over at the expansion.
And we'll see if he actually goes by the path of the Overlord. Sometimes you can juke it to the side. Yeah, see, right over here. He's trying to go around the Overlord, I believe, right now, but it doesn't seem... It might not end up working. Oh, let's please check. Oh, look at that. That's the craziest.
That's so funny. I was about to be like, that's so weird because it isn't going to work and, like, hasn't he practiced that? You know what I mean? And then I see it, I'm like, oh, okay. The Overlord needs spectacles, I guess. It doesn't quite see as far as it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but like immediately sends the probe in, so I guess he doesn't really gain that much from it.
Well, this is pretty big to block the first hatchery. It's annoying because now, the Zerg doesn't have a lot of places to try to expand to, and so you can basically block the hatch that would be over here, and it's kind of an annoying start here. By the way, Best is actually going to go for Nexus before Forge here. So I guess the idea is you cancel the Pylon, Nexus immediately Forge up and probably just barely hold this off. And this probably puts Protoss in a bit more of a comfortable spot, I would imagine, in development.
Yeah, that's actually kind of surprising and impressive. He does like offensive pylon, slows his opponent, throws down his Nexus, but cancels his own pylon here. But it seems like the timings will just work out fine. So a very nice opener here from Best. By the way, we just saw in the bottom right, Best is the only player that's played in all 14 ASLs. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's so cool.
Really? That's a great statistic there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes to show you how consistent he is. The funny thing is, he's not winning any of them yet. And some of his games, he really does look like, no pun intended, but the best player in the ASL, right? These moments where he really has so much brilliance, but again, he's one of these guys that is a fixture of the tournament but never wins it. And so it's going to be fun to see if maybe he can do it this time around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually hoping that Best eventually does win, but it's getting pretty damn competitive at this point. We saw also on that list number 2 for ASLs played in his light, who just won his first ASL last season, right? So poor Best, he's being outshined even by the guy with one less ASL here.
So, in this game, we don't know exactly what Best wants to do. We see Sacsri is making a layer. Again, there's a lot of different types of layer builds here, but this could be the most standard one where you get enough Scourge to basically fend off the Corsairs, try to scout the Protoss and see what they're doing. As far as the Forge Expand build goes here, again, it's all very par for the course for the matchup. Not a new build order. Well, I guess the early parts of it are a little bit novel, but the idea of going with a Nexus and a Forge is one of the older ideas in the game. And it seems to have popped back into popularity, I would say, especially this year, as we've gone with Gateway expands for, one gate expands, I should say, for the 2 years before this year. So, it does seem like these build orders, they move in rotations, they're hot for a while, and then everybody's comfortable playing against it, and you go, well, let's dust off this older one and try it out.
Yeah, it's definitely been that way for the past few months at least, right? Where we've seen a lot more of that Forge Fast expansion, a lot less of the Gateway first stuff. I love that type of rotation, though. It's like really, really interesting. And it happens in all matchups as well, where it's like, okay, well, everyone's so used to this now. It's time to switch it back up. Like, for instance, in Terran versus Protoss for a long time, we had gasless expansions got very popular for a couple years, and now almost no one does them anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's one of the interesting things about Brood War is that everything is so hard to do. And when you change a map, there's all these very little nuances in each of the matchup that you have to kind of master. Look at that cool spot to hide the Zealot. I can't believe that, man. When I was a kid, there was this book I would read with my mom, really little kid, and it was called Cam Jansen, and she had a photographic memory. And when she had to use her photographic memory, she would say "click" out loud. So she would she'd take a photo of it, never forget it. And I want to Cam Jansen click that Zealot there. I'm never forgetting that hiding spot ever again.
That's amazing. I've never heard of those books, but sounds great. Now Speedling's running in right now past the cannon. Oh God, very swift move there from Saxory, getting into the main base, going after this cannon. But the 3 Zealots might do a counterattack here.
Yeah, these Lings are going to be annoying here, but the Zealots can really do severe damage. So he's going to be coming down right now. And, this is going to be kind of scary here. These drones don't have anywhere really to run for the time being. The Zealots can actually wedge in between the hatchery as well.
He was actually extremely slow here, getting those Zealots down. They actually walked to the north for a little bit, then turned around. So he's not going to get nearly as much damage as he could have gotten. And now Saxory has fielded enough Lings to clear this out. And it seems like, the Zealots are obviously being as efficient as they really can be, fighting Lings one at a time. But who took more damage here, would you say?
Well, I think it's definitely the Zerg, right? Anytime you can wedge your Zealots into corners and they have to kill them off, or you can make drones move like we're seeing now, this is a win always for the Protoss. Because you got to remember, even if you lose probes, yeah, that's annoying. That's a problem in your own development. But Zerg is always working with less workers, right? And the Protoss is constantly cranking out probes. So this is an extremely comfortable spot. This is sort of how players like Bisu, you know, made their name in the game, was they would just abuse these Zergs, and these things that seemed like maybe they weren't of major consequence ended up being huge later on. Dude, 2 DTs, this is wild. Look at this.
Oh my god. Yeah, it gets right in on top of this as well. Only a couple Lings there to try to defend. There is an Overlord in the main in the bottom corner. Now, oh my god, the DT at the third base, going to get multiple drones here as well. God, Best is just tearing him apart right now.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this is very bad for Saxory. I mean, he's banking the Corsairs. He's got the gateways up here, so he's extremely comfortable. There's enough Scourge here. It looks like the Zerg may try to clobber the Protoss here, but I think there should be enough cannons. I feel like Best is in extremely good shape right now.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. The fact that he already has an Archon as well, it's like he's not even going to be afraid of traveling around his own base. But look at this. Oh, he almost tries to Ogre Zerg Gamer him. Doesn't quite work out. The Archon comes over, and Saxory just taking damage on this Muta Scourge so far.
Yeah, he's going to try to hit these probes here in the back, and, you know, it's not to much effect, right? The Zerg has had to drone up when this would be a moment we'd want to see Hydralisks hatching here. You know, normally the threat for the Protoss is you don't see more Mutas coming, or you can't tell if more Mutas are coming, and you don't know if it's going to be a Muta all-in while you're switching to Templars like Storm, or if it's going to be a big Hydra bust. And in this case, it's neither, because Zerg's playing catch-up back at home. And that really all goes back. By the way, wow, 2 Archons. That's unusual. That really shows that Best has a very good sense of where he is, even without having scouted. Because 2 Archons could mean death if enough Hydras could have been made. But, I mean, Best sees, without actually physically seeing, he sees what we're seeing, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Let's see if this SimCity is going to be strong enough, and what is in those eggs. Oh, drone. 3 Hydra. So a little bit of denied mining here, but that Sunken looks just about invincible against Zealot Archon.
He's going to be cranking out Dragoons now, and this is going to be difficult here, because honestly, you can turtle all day, but when Dragoons come into the picture, you could start to shell the hatcheries or whatever else is walling off the area, right? Like the Evo Chamber. And you can really start to cripple the Zerg here. And I think the Natural is a really desirable location to hit. So he can just set up these Dragoons here. Looks like even with range, they're barely... Oh, I guess they can be, you know, avoiding the hits from the Sunks.
And the Hydras, I mean, some nice micro so far. Saxory is on 6 hatches, so he can produce a hell of a lot of Hydras. Now, is this Dragoon force going to be overwhelming enough?
Yeah, I mean, there's no Stormers here, right? So you have to actually fight your way through the Hydras. Now, Hydras are, like, among the most microable units in the game, and usually when you see just Dragoons, it's a very bad sign for the Protoss. Even with more reinforcements coming here, this is a flimsy defense. Wow, who's going to catch these Mutas here? Again, with good micro, maybe he can hang on, but I have to imagine that if we don't see Zealots and High Templars coming here, the Zerg will eventually beat this back.
Well, honestly, even with these Zealots coming down, it doesn't feel like Best is really building like a great long-term army here. Finally, some High Templars are fielded and sent down, but if Saxory continues to macro up and can, like, for instance, kill off this army before those High Templars come down with Storms, or at least reduce it, I think it's going to become hard for Best.
Yeah, this is usually not a good sign. And keep in mind that when you see 6 hatches, the Zerg's looking for a fight, right? The Zerg is not necessarily trying to just sneak out a 4th and make sunken colonies, right? I mean, that's not what Hydra Muta is really about. And so, you know, he's trying to fight a Zerg that, you know, is sort of looking for a fight. But look, with these 2 High Templars down here, if he gets really good Storms, and that was a pretty good one, he could really stick it to the Zerg.
Yeah, the Zealots now trying to chase those Hydras down. The Hydra group here is getting really, really big, and you can see that beautiful micro you were talking about before, Saxory splitting and running back. Another Storm comes down. It's okay, but there's so many Hydras here. He's in danger of losing those goons if these Zealots can't get over there.
You know, the problem is that, like, Protoss is almost to the point where they have an army that can fight, but they're never quite getting there. And so, like, if you don't amass the right number of units, you're not ever strong as a Protoss player, right? you want to have the right balance, and then you can really take a lot of different fights. But right now, it's just, you know, Zerg is kind of swatting this away. Zerg is also taking a fourth, while it looks like Protoss is setting up for a third here. But
yeah, a little bit tough for Best. I wish that he had pulled his units back a little bit quicker, but I mean, he is still fielding a pretty darn big army. He has 3 High Templars in here as well, and the Hydras have to retreat for now.
Yeah, the Hydras are going to back out. He's doing a good job of fighting the Zealots while staying out of storm range, you know, and that's the best you can ask for in a moment like this. But they're both kind of lunging at each other's throats, and it seems like a little bit of overextending almost on both sides. Like, you know, Protoss grossly overextended earlier on, and then it was like Saxory got too excited by winning that fight, and he did the exact same thing and came out. And so here we are, the hatcheries canceled. It's still 3 bases to 2 in what is becoming a pretty tense game here.
Yeah, it is. There's no third base for Best, like you mentioned. Like it looks like he has that kind of set up, but hasn't done it as of yet. Now, a huge amount of units running into the natural here of Saxory. Is this going to be enough to bust? It might be. That is a lot of Dragoons. A great Psy Storm down on those Hydras, shredding a few of them. Down go the Invincible Sunken Colony as well. This looks like a Best victory.
Yeah, I think Best may have cracked him here. That overextension there from Saxory was a really bad move. GG, Best just comes through. Regardless of an early game overextension, his storms were too good later on. He had amassed the right amount. I'm pretty sure he was up to 8 gateways, and 8 is the number you want on 2 bases. Saxory, you know, he never made enough mutas to snipe Templars. He never had enough Hydras to really overwhelm. And, you know, I think a lot of this game goes back to those few Zealots we saw early on that came in and did that damage. And it was really Saxory limping into the mid-game and Best looking very strong.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm impressed because I felt like he maybe overextended a little bit with the Dragoon Force. Maybe he thought that he could snowball it out of control for Saxory, but Saxory started to hold on. But great rallying, great unit control. I loved his pullbacks to the high ground to stop the Hydras from chasing him. Very well played, which means we're going to have a Protoss versus Protoss in the winners match.
A rematch from one of the most kind of, well, I guess it depends on how you phrase it, but super short PvPs ever from 2 ASLs ago, where Mini cheesed out Best. Now they're going to duke it out again. What is this going to look like? I imagine it's going to be down and dirty. Guys, we're going to a break. When we come out, our 3rd match of the evening.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 함스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 우리들의 제로 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
김성현 선수는 지속적으로 이 빌드로 시비를 거는 듯한 그런 느낌이었습니다. 들어와 하면서 들어와인데 이제 세게 들어가겠다라는 건데요.
네. 극단적인 양상으로 갈 수밖에 없는 적의 상황인데 그 극단성을 띄웠을 때 가장 강력한 저그가 바로 또 김정우 선수거든요.
네,
숨겨놓고 자 다시 한번 SCB 정찰 일단은 끌었습니다.
네. 토베럭스에서 병력 생산 꾸준히 해주고 있고 아카데미 올라가고 있어요.
네.
일단 SCB 한 기는 서 있는데 자 대응이 중요합니다. 일꾼 대응.
그렇죠. 믿을 만한 거는 뭐 김정우 선수. 김정우 선수 기둥만밖에 없고요. 보로까지 지금 개발해서 이게 후속을 기다리겠다라는
다시 맞고 난 다음엔 뭘 할 수 있냐도 문제입니다.
그렇죠. 스위치로 뮤탈트 찍었습니다.
네, 저희 뮤탈트
파워타워 이제 엠베 올라가는데
이제 올라가요.
엠베 이제 올라가는데 저글링은 아직도 제거가 안 됐고 파워타워 둘에 지금 버로우 저글링이 있다라는 사실만으로도 더 압박을 못합니다.
예, 게다가 지금은 파괴 비중을 또 많이 높일 수밖에 없었기 때문에 머리 숫자도 적어요.
네. 터렛도 약간 그 외곽 지역에 지금 컨설이 돼 있기 때문에
없어요.
이쪽 구역을 파기 시작을 하면은 머리니 이렇게 대응할 수밖에 없거든요.
와, 병력 숫자 반파.
계속 안 칩니다. 아, 파이어맨
병력이 없어요.
형수니까 빠른 것도 아닌데다가 SCB가 지속적으로 잡혔고 머리에 한 타이밍 줄었기 때문에 외곽 지역에 터렛이 없는 지역에서 뮤탈스를 상대하기가 너무나도 지금은 어려운 상황입니다.
나왔습니다.
이거를 벙커를 이어서 결국 수비 라인을 더 강화할 수밖에 없는데 너무 안쪽에 데미지가 큰 상황이고 러커도 지금 하나도 잡히지 않은 상황에서
네.
디팔러 마운트까지 올라가고 있습니다.
그렇죠.
테란이 공격을 한 번도 못 나갔어요.
네, 이병력이 전부입니다. 디파일러가 가서 다크선 펼치면서
벙커도 도움이 안 되는 이런 상황이고
자,
수원과
자, 연산으로 가는 길인가요?
예.
이렇게 엄청난 공격을 해주면서도 자원이 넘쳐납니다.
야생에서 돌아온 김정우 선수가 결승 진출에 일어났습니다.
Welcome back, everybody. We're already through our first two best of ones. This is going to be a PvP, excuse me, what am I talking about? It's going to be a PvP here, and it should be an interesting one, man. Both these guys are great at the matchup, but Mini, a very crafty Protoss, usually able to just circumvent his opponents entirely.
Yeah, and this could be like a really crazy tricky one. I just looked at the map vetoes, and unfortunately New Arkanoid was vetoed by Best, so that would have been a really, really, really crazy game, but unfortunately we're not going to see that here.
Yeah, Mini, again, keep in mind, he wants to just move out of this group, move on to the next level, and go win an ASL. You know, this is a guy who was on top of the world, but last season he had a bit of a humiliating defeat. Best, of course, always hungry to prove himself, but now he's up against somebody who foiled him in the past before. And we're going to be going on to the map Allegro for this one.
Yeah, all right, Allegro. This has been a great map. For those of you who are not aware, it's basically Largo with some minor alterations. Pretty standard 4-player map, nothing out of the ordinary. Should be a good test of skill between these two.
Okay, we've got Mini here in the top right. Sorry, Best in the top left, Mini in the top right here. I'm excited to see how these two are going to approach the matchup. You know, I've been streaming a bunch and laddering for most of that stream, and PvP has become more and more of an interesting matchup. You know, I think all the, at least for me personally, I think all the mirror matchups in StarCraft 1, they do get a bad rap, and I think some of that's fair and some of it's unfair. You know, I think to the casual observer, each of the three mirror matchups can seem dull or seem, I guess, limited in certain ways. And that's not to say that they aren't, but I think the more you dive deep into the mirror matchups, the more, you know, not to sound corny here, but more beautiful they become.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a very common thing. That's like kind of a known thing, I guess, as like a concept. I've read about this a little bit, where it's like when you don't understand something compared to when you start to understand it quite deeply, like basically anything that you start to really dive into becomes more and more beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, even though we watch PvP and it just looks like a bunch of Dragoons and Reavers butting heads, when you start to get into the really, small little finer points that are making all these different decisions happen and everything, it becomes much more palatable, I guess.
I mean, just exploring the matchups and seeing, how, especially in PvP, the way the build orders function. I mean, one of the big features for Protoss, whether it's StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2, it is the fact that they have an insane tech branch right after the cybernetics core is done. Cybernetics core means tech, and then from there you can go in wildly different directions. And even though the Stargate tech isn't really a tech that you use in the matchup, the difference in between going for Dark Templars or for Robo, or not getting any of the two and just going gates. And then the mini fork within Robo builds of, you could even skip observers, or you could only get observers, right? Or you could skip shuttle and observers and get a Reaver. It's a very fascinating matchup to follow, because if you start to get into the early mid-game, there's all these mind games that go on. There's all these things that you can hide. There's all these... you can try certain things, but they do come with risks. So it's very fun to see how players play it out. And it feels like ASL maybe 3-4 years ago was a lot of very hard on the edges build orders, like no detection builds, like goon all-ins. But it's going to be fun to see how, in the later half of this year, the matchup's going to be treated. Ooh, big scout there. The probe gets in.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. And the Zealot not going to go to the right base there quite yet. Very economy-based opener here for Mini, right?
Yeah.
Like he's scouting with the Zealot as opposed to a probe. He's gone into that second gateway rather quickly. But the fact that Best got in and got a little peek at what was going on should help him to counter this a bit.
Builds like what Mini's...
And already Tastosis, by the way, I do want to point out this is better than the best of 5 series that they played a couple seasons ago.
I'm always amazed when I see builds like that you just scout with the Zealot, like in this matchup. I don't know. That always amazes me that you don't want to scout that quickly. Now, Mini is going for DTs. Keep in mind, this is a very healthy DT build order, okay? He never scouted, so he had the extra probe, so he got a second gate out. So a lot of Protosses see that, and they assume a Robo is just going to be right behind it, but it's a slightly delayed DT tech.
Yeah. I mean, against a Robo opener, I'm not sure exactly how well this will end up going, but the thing about Mini is that he knows the timings of everything, I think, better than basically everyone else that plays StarCraft. So he might have something where, like, his DT walks in between observers or something like that, right? Like, he is that level of player.
Oh, for sure. By the way, did you see his Mini getting Dragoon range? I felt like it was covered up by the overlay earlier. I'm just not totally sure, but...
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm not sure about that, actually.
So,
it's a little bit hard to get the goon range and the DTs out, though, isn't it? Like,
I think you have
to...
For sure. Yeah. I feel like he does. Yeah, he has it. You can't shoot that far otherwise.
Okay.
But, so this is, we talked about this build back, like, over a decade ago, Artosis, when Noni was out here. The Dragoon pressure into DT, this is one of the trickier builds in the game, because it doesn't allow for any wiggle room in what, in this case, what Best is doing, right? It looks like there are Dragoons coming out in pairs and pressuring you, but Best has basically done the catch-all safe build, which is 3-gate Goon Observer. So if his Observer comes out, he'll both be able to stop the DTs, and he'll be able to scout, which is huge. Now, keep in mind, it's tempting when you see 2-gate Goon pressure to try to go, Dragoon Reaver on your own and put that counter pressure on here. And so right now, Mini's trying to make it look like he might even be doing a 3-gate Goon all-in, and that's why he's so eager to try to come down here. Doesn't matter. The Observer's out. The DTs are not going to do anything unless this Observer gets misplaced.
Yeah, and is it going to get misplaced? Like, he's probably making a second one right now. This one walks out. The DT's being split a little bit around the map. He's making sure that the Observer doesn't see them. In fact, you see his goons. He's, like, watching for the Observer, and then he steps back. He sees the Observer again. He steps back. So he's really tracking that first Observer as best he can.
You could really see with Mini leaning forward in his chair, he was doing it even a little bit more so earlier on. He basically was watching that Observer so closely, and this worked. He knew that the guy might... Oh, here it is. The second Obs is out.
Tries to get in between them, and he's going to split the DTs. How many kills can he end up getting here? One probe kill, a couple already. The Goons coming up for another counterattack here and might actually force a cancel on the Nexus, but the DTs don't seem like they've been worth it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Mini has to rely fully on tactics right now, and he's doing a good job of playing hide-and-seek with his DT, right? He's coming here. He's killed some more workers. Keep in mind how quickly... Oh, okay, he's going to have to back up. He had the right idea, though.
Hilarious. Dude, he went 4 DTs. Now he's splitting them off again. He actually killed an okay amount of probes considering and forced a cancel on the Nexus. But how do you hold on if Best does a counterattack?
Well, hold on. He's got another counterattack built into this. Mini does with this DT coming right here. But you can see Best is very, very aware of what's happening here. He's played such a good game. But you're right, Artosis. Really, the more important thing is going to be Best counterattack here. Mini's DT is barreling forward. If he kills the Dragoon, I mean, okay, 2 more come out just in time.
Oh, this is crazy to watch, but another DT goes back in, kills the probe at the natural, and is going to hide in the back there. Now we just get to see, can Mini hold on against this attack? And honestly, his Goon count is not that bad.
Yeah, he might barely had enough. It goes to show you how much he was microing his DTs, by the way. He never sent the probes.
Yeah, I guess a little bit late on that. Getting a shield battery now as well. I love this DT kind of chilling back at the base of Best. He tries to sneak up there, and unfortunately that one will get picked off. Yeah, just barely there.
You know, it goes to show you why Mini's so scary. Is Mini's build order was countered, and he's still okay, but the Observer showed us something very important. Very quietly, Best went for his own DTs, and basically this is a great way to punish a player who goes DTs, is if they go for DTs and expand and you don't see cannons, then you know that you can make your own DTs and kill them. But Mini is making a forge right now, so DTs are coming out of those gateways in the next minute or so, but if there are cannons up there, Mini's going to be okay. But if the DTs get there and do enough damage, Mini is in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, for sure. Now, these Zealots tanking a ton of damage for the Goons. His Goons just cannot fight against this due to those couple of tanky Zealots pushing him back. And now it feels once again like Mini is just kind of behind, right? Like, yeah, he has the cannon, but he's not going to be able to really get on the map until Observers. The Robo has been started. And a DT drop is coming. So even if he has a cannon at the natural, he could die to a DT drop.
Yeah, and this could be the ace-up Best sleeve here. I got to say, you know, first of all, Best won with the build order, but Mini kept the game going with the tactics. But Best has an opportunity here to really shut this down, but I feel like this is literally a few seconds off from working perfectly. Now, keep in mind, a cannon falls in either location, and the DTs can make it so that Mini can't fight. So there's a real opportunity here for Best. We got to see how this game goes, though. Oh my God, 3 DTs is so much.
3 DTs into the main.
Oh, man.
This is crazy. The single cannon here, I think he's going to try to target it down. Yeah, he gets in on top of it. He's going to kill it very, very quickly indeed. At the front, Best tries to dive in a little bit, doesn't really get it, and now, oh my God, the probe massacre has occurred.
Okay, now, I didn't see an observatory. Did you? Oh, it's finishing just at the top of the screen.
I think he has... Oh my God, he's going to kill the Robo.
Okay.
Best! Oh!
Dude, I think Best. I think he wins here.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as he survives any counterattack, and you can't really counterattack because you don't have observers, right? I mean, he could just make one DT and fend this off. I think Best just won this. I think Best just got revenge for that humiliating ASL loss in the past.
Yeah, very well played game. This is a lot of units from Mini. He's actually got a much bigger army than Best at this moment, but as you said, these DTs, there's nothing he can do against them. They're just going to whittle his army down.
Yeah, I mean, this should be Mini and his death throes here. You know, Mini, again, I'm impressed, even though he's losing this game. He's a scary opponent, right? I mean, Best played a near-perfect game, and there were a couple moments that Mini would have come through there and won that. And Best, of course, huge relief. He won that game. His revenge has been had. Best defeats Mini.
Awesome game there. I got to say, 2 of the best Protoss going at it in a PvP. No less than 15 Dark Templars made in like a 10-minute game. I love it. So Best goes to that next round. And yeah, I mean, if Mini goes out in the first round, man, what an upset that will be.
Crazy, man. Well, congrats to Best. I think even if you don't play Protoss, he's a guy you follow and you go, man, I hope this guy, can win an ASL soon because he's so strong. And Salty Mini over here. He had so many moments that he created that looked like nobody else could do. The way when he got to 4 DTs, which is an excess, by the way, he's really banking on that working and actually did stretch the game out. But, I mean, look, Mini's not eliminated, guys. He has an opportunity to try to come back here. In the end, we are going to be going to an interview now with Best, seeing how he's feeling. We're going to that now.
함께하는 ASL 시즌 14 24강 개막전 경기 함께하고 계십니다. 첫 번째 16강 진출자가 탄생했습니다. 14회 연속 진출의 ASL 개근 선수죠. 도재욱 선수 만나보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
정말 오랜만에 24강 팬분들을 모시고 무대를 진행하고 있는데 이 무대에서 가장 먼저 16강에 진출하셨습니다. 네. 이 에너지를 아마 도재욱 선수가 싹 흡수한 게 아닌가 하는 생각이 들어요. 소감 어떠신가요?
일단은 오늘 관중분들 정말 오랜만에 뵀는데 너무 많이 오셔가지고 좀 힘이 됐던 것 같고, 그리고 오늘 저희 바스포드 이사장님인 감스탄님께서 오셨어요. 그래서 이제 너무 감사하다고 말씀드리고 싶고, 오늘 이렇게 오랜만에 이렇게 관중들 앞에서 이기는 모습 보여드리니까 좀 좋네요.
도재욱 선수는 중계진도 앞서 언급하셨지만 강점과 약점이 좀 나눠지는 선수다라는 이야기들이 있었어요.
네네.
하지만 오늘은 강점은 더 강한 모습, 약점까지 보완된 모습을 좀 보여주셨던 것 같아요. 이혜원 선수의 경기에서는 역시 물량의 도재욱이구나라는 생각이 들었는데요. 변현재 선수와의 승자전에서는 다크 드랍으로 응수하실 줄은 몰랐거든요.
네네.
사실 이 변현재 선수의 다크에 약간은 흔들리기도 했는데 이후의 판단을 좀 어떻게 빠르게 하셨나요?
일단은 현재가 그런 수를 쓸 거고 좀 생각을 많이 못했었어요. 저한테 워낙 세기도 하고 해서 좀 안정적으로 할 줄 알았는데, 그 휘둘리면서도 약간 좀 기도했어요. 제발 다크 좀 통해라 라고 좀 기도했었는데 잘 통한 것 같아요.
또 이렇게 변현재 선수가 워낙 또 사파 프로토스로 상대를 흔드는 심리전도 굉장히 강한 선수인데, 도재욱 선수의 수에 오늘은 변현재 선수가 흔들리는 모습이 또 있었습니다. 자, 도재욱 선수는 현재 ASL 14회 연속 진출이시고 이제는 이 커리어 말고도 또 다른 좀 커다란 커리어를 준비하셔야 할 때가 아닌가라는 생각이 들어요.
네네.
도재욱 선수의 생각 어떠신가요?
일단은 제가 처음에 말씀드렸던 것처럼 일단은 한 경기 준비할 생각이고요. 오늘 저도 좀 쉽지 않아서 많이 걱정했는데 좋은 경기력 올라간 것 같아서 좀 다행이고 16강에서도 계속 이어갔으면 좋겠습니다.
네, 또 강력한 프로토스 선수인 변현재 선수를 꺾고 가장 먼저 16강에 오른 만큼 이번 시즌 아마 도재욱 선수를 보기 위해서 팬분들이 많이 현장을 찾아주실 것 같습니다. 팬분들께도 한마디 전해주시죠.
요즘에 이제 팬분들이 정말 힘내라고 많이 해주세요. 일단 많은 일들이 있었기 때문에 그래서 너무 감사하고 더 열심히 해서 좋은 모습 보여줄 수 있도록 하겠고, 그리고 바스포드 멤버들이 정말 응원 많이 해주거든요. 그래서 너무 고맙고, 그리고 원래 이런 데 잘 안 오시는 걸로 알고 있는데 감스트 이사장님 진짜 오셔가지고 너무 깜짝 놀랐어요. 말도 안 하고 오셔가지고 너무 힘이 됐던 것 같아요.
많은 분들이 도재욱 선수에게 힘을 실어주기 위해서 이번 시즌 많은 파이팅을 또 보내주실 것 같습니다. 시즌 14에서 좋은 모습 기대하도록 하겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
예, 감사합니다.
자, 이렇게 이번 시즌 가장 먼저 16강에 이름을 올린 도재욱 선수와 함께했습니다. 잠시 후에 이어질 패자전과 최종전도 함께하시죠.
I've been coming up hot for a minute. 그래 걱정 빼고 고민 빼고 망설임 빼고 This is zero life. 없어도 되는 건 빼고 실성사이다 제로.
상큼함 맥스, 칼로리 X, 맛있는 탐스 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로, 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
아침은 라떼, 홀릭 점심은 라떼, 홀릭 저녁엔 라떼, 홀릭 둥글하게 달콤하게 라떼 홀릭.
달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타.
라떼
아프리카에 승부 예측 생긴 거 아세요, 여러분들?
아니 e스포츠 여기 탭에 있잖아요, 여러분들. 아니 이게 새로 생겼더라.
저는 광동에 올인했어요.
아 진짜요? 아 그럼 전 DRX에 올인.
모바일도 똑같이 아래 가운데 보면 e스포츠 있어요. 잼이라는 포인트가 있어요. 아프리카 내에서 쓸 수 있는 재화라고 생각하시면 돼요.
잼을 사은품으로 교환 가능하다고요?
이 잼으로 응모를 다 할 수 있어. 키보드는 벌써 나갔네.
아이폰 갤럭시 탭. 아 이게 200잼이야?
교환까지 할 수 있으니까 형님들 아프리카 승부 예측 많이 사랑 부탁드립니다. 화장
What's up, everybody? We're back, and we're ready to go to the losers mat, where we're going to decide who actually gets knocked out first here in this season of ASL.
Yeah. So Terran versus Zerg between these two, this could be an interesting one because while Oregon has been playing more and more aggressively over time, I feel like that's a function of him backing into more of a commentary role. Obviously, he still plays well. He's still good enough to get into ASL from time to time. But historically, he has been, like, at least a few years ago, he was one of the strongest Terran versus Zerg SK Terran players, like Marine Medic Science Vessel. He's extremely good at that. And obviously, he can play the full range. He is a pro gamer. But I'm really wondering what he's going to bring. Is he going to play a more aggressive, cheesy style, or will he fall back on what is actually extremely strong standard play?
Yeah, it's a good question. Saxory, again, I still think he's got a shot to get out, man. You know, with this being best of ones as it is, I would put him slightly favored against Oregon. But again, Oregon's a tough player, man. Like we said at the start of the show, this guy is solid Terran. He's been around forever. Anyways, guys, the match to eliminate a player starts now here. We're already getting rid of players here in the ASL. It's crazy. What is this, like, James Bond, like, kaleidoscope thing we do before we switch screens? Have you noticed that?
No, not so
We need,
much,
like, a nerd walk.
I'll pay more attention.
If you're watching the VOD, rewind back, like, 5 seconds of that transition screen and just imagine a nerd with a hunchback walking up in the center of that thing and then firing a gun.
Dude, you just put them into a loop right now. Like, anyone who listens to everything Tasteless says will now rewind
That's right.
play it again, and then you'll tell them to rewind it again, and they're going to be stuck forever.
There's one person with severe dementia just forever looping here.
All right, so we're on Allegro. We have Oregon in the bottom left, Sacsri in the bottom right. I mean, these are just kind of normal spawns overall. It's a normal macro map, and it definitely feels to me like we should be watching Oregon here to see what way he wants to take the game. Because I think with Sacsri, Sacsri is just really good overall, right? Like, he can take games from everybody. He can play every single style. I think he's very likely to go just for a 2-hatch muta play, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's, can I just say it's so good to be back here doing ASL. It is weird how long it feels in between each of the seasons. I guess because it is a long time. You know, with GSL, it's pretty consistent, and then we have that short period of downtime. But, yeah, man, it's always nice to be back casting ASL for you guys.
Yeah. It's, well, you know, there's only 2 ASLs a year, and it's like the best, most exciting time of the year is to see the #1 Brood War tournament and watch everyone you know, just duke it out and see how they can do. Honestly, I wish there were more ASLs.
Yeah, I would welcome
I would
that.
be very happy.
I don't know that we're ever going to get it, but I would welcome it.
No, I know. I don't think so either. But, you know, there's other great content out there as far as Brood War goes, but I do miss the days of, you know, there being Pro League and OSL and MSL when we first got out to Korea, just how saturated it was. It was like, it was almost impossible to watch all the StarCraft.
Oh, and before I forget to plug this, guys, if you want to support our endeavors here at the ASL, go to patreon.com/ASL English. And you also get access to the secret podcast we do in between the recordings for the ASL. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for helping us keep the history of Brood War alive.
So, looks like just a standard opening on both sides right now, like standard gas and pool timing with that hatch first. On Oregon's side, he's just going ahead, throwing down his depots and throwing down the barracks. So it looks like he's just going to go for an expansion here. A few lings coming out. So yeah, that actually I guess that is a 12 pull now that I'm looking at it. Those lings are out relatively quickly here, so Oregon will have to like block his ramp just for a moment, but no real danger at play here for him.
No, I mean it should be a pretty slow start to the game here. Obviously, Oregon intends on getting a CC on the low ground, but he can do that pretty safely here. The lings do cause a bit of a delay, and you always go for layer here as Zerg, right, Tastosis? Is that correct?
Well, I mean, you could go speed, but it's like kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like, if you go speed first, it's relatively easy to read into. Honestly, here, like, yeah, that's a 316. I actually wasn't paying super attention because I was kind of like, I don't know, talking to you and not. The openers are pretty easy to glide through, right? But I didn't actually catch exactly the moment of the beginning of the gas, so. We'll see exactly how aggressive Sacsri gets here. Normally with a pool first like this, you will get speed to go along with it. But yeah, the layer was a little bit late. At 316, he definitely could have gotten speed first.
Yeah, I was always, with builds like this, I always wonder if, once you chase the SCV out, if there's some kind of a special cheese the Zerg can do, just because that's how so much of PvZ is, where you lose the probe and it's like, oh, did he throw down a Hydra Den? Is something happening?
Yeah, there's not that much. It's really just about how many lings are being made and if you're making a third hatchery at a base. Like, those and the layer timing, that's like it for this matchup as far as the real early game goes. I guess there are things like you could go Lurker, but honestly, like, 2 hatchery Lurker builds are terrible. They work sometimes, but it's basically agreed upon that they are only tricks.
It's like they're good because they're bad.
Yeah.
Every matchup has a couple builds like that where it's like, well, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you might catch them off guard and win, but, like, you can't actually play like this. And if people knew that you were doing this, you'd never win a game ever. But
yeah, exactly. So Sacsri comes out. He does have that quick Zergling speed. He's not going to get any damage, though. That is like a very well-placed bunker overall. Yeah. He's got his Marines in a solid location. You would have to make so many Zerglings to bust through that. It's not going to be worthwhile. Sacsri taking a very aggressive kind of forward stance in this game so far. But, yeah, look at this. Oregon actually even pulls up a single SCV. Like, this is becoming very unbreakable.
He's going to push out
this
now.
This is a little bit... He's poking out there just to try to see if he can see exactly how many lings exist at the moment. And even the depot in front, like, everything Oregon's doing is super, super solid.
There is a trap set up by Saxory, by the way, with additional lings just north of that. So if you do overextend, he'll surround and kill that. We saw not Sunken Colony, Creep Colony making, which was then canceled during the scan and is now going to, I assume, make another hatchery here.
Yeah, he's going to take that third base. Pretty normal as far as the timing goes, since he made the lings early on. Couldn't get it much earlier than that. But now it's time for turrets. Got to make sure you have enough of them all over the place. A third Rax goes up. This is, like, really standard from Oregon, which I'm actually excited to see, because he's been cheesing so much lately. I watch a lot of Oregon games, because he is a very smart player and he comes up with great stuff. But he has such a solid Terran vs. Zerg, like, just regular bio style. So this is going to be exciting to see if he's actually strong enough to take down Sacsri.
Yeah, the mutas are going to come in now. And, one turret doesn't always cut it, but there are a few more being made here. But you can see Oregon already having some other turrets being thrown down here. And Sacsri needs to be very careful with his decision-making here with the mutas. And see how much damage you can actually get out. I think going for the depot, perfectly acceptable, but these Marines are going to come down here and they're going to hit some of these mutas. And already one picked off and another one at, like 5% HP? That's huge.
Yeah, that was a very good stim down right there. But the muta's going to come back. They're going to continue their harassment. He's just going to watch them a little bit more carefully. Oregon is capable of moves like that. Picking a depot off is really strong here. That other one did not get finished as well. Like, supply blocks for Terran hurt so badly, especially when the mutas can come back in and deny the building depots again.
Yeah, and on this map, I mean, you don't have that many spots once you filled up that bottom area to basically place depots out. Now, Saxory's going to gear up and try to come out onto the map here. And, I mean, right now, Oregon's going to try to come out onto the map. But you know, Saxry's got enough that Oregon needs to be very, very careful, and it looks like Sacsri has opportunities to take a couple more swipes in over here.
Yeah, picks off a few units, a few Marines, but he's actually got to get up and get on top of this Bioforce. Like, you have to whittle something like this down if you don't have sunken colonies. And he does have enough mutas that he can whittle this down over time.
Yeah, nice sniping so far. It was 4 medics, now it's 3. It's so many mutas here. I don't think Oregon could even go back home. I think he's going to have to go for broke here and try to come in and do some damage.
He should end up losing this entire Bioforce, but how many mutas can he kill? The Lings come in from the side. He's trying to target down the mutas as best he can. He's actually doing a pretty decent job. He's killed a few of them, but away goes the Bioforce.
Yeah.
So this, in my opinion, that is a little bit of a mistake. If you see the Zerg not making any static D and they're just kind of floating mutas there, the reason they're not making static D is because they have enough, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he just gave, like, what was it, 18 Marines and 4 medics or something like that. And, yeah, he killed a few mutas, but the mutas aren't going to scale infinitely. So that I don't like moves like that. I would have much preferred for Oregon to make his way back home and reinforce.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he played into the Zerg's hand. The third base is comfortably being mined from. The mutas can continue to come in here and do a lot of damage. You talked about the depots and supply blocking before Artosis. Well, we've got it again over here now. An armory being made, way hidden away over at the natural there. Does he want to get Valkyries here?
Oh, yeah. I actually hadn't realized that he has an armory. That's awesome. But, yeah, you're definitely right about that. He is going for Valkyries. We haven't gotten a picture of that third base. It doesn't seem like there is any sort of, like, Hydralisk Den there or anything. So if Saxry is not ready with some sort of tech switch by the time the Valkyries come out, he's going to be in serious trouble.
And he's going for a Queen's Nest as well. So he may want to just rush into Hive Tech here.
Now, the Mutalisk count continues to grow, swapping some out here and there for that harassment, keeping a full group going. He does have that +1 attack as well. The first Valkyrie on the way, the second Starport getting its add-on at the moment. A scan to see the Queen's Nest. Like, as long as he's scanning all 3 locations, like rotating through looking for the Hydralisk Den, he's in good shape. Because, like, if your opponent is not going for a Hydralisk Den here... Oh, he does have it. Look!
Oh,
the Valkyries may not end up... Yeah, the Valkyries may not end up being that strong here.
Yeah, if it's pure Muta, the Valkyries can counter that pretty nicely here. But, Lurkers are a headache of their own here, and obviously the Valkyries aren't going to detect like a science vessel would. And so Oregon, again, he hasn't lost the game, but I see a lot more things going wrong the more this game pans out here for Oregon than I do for Saxory. I think Saxory's played a very good game.
Yeah, I think Saxory, this is like very good textbook. This is how you play professional Zerg versus Terran overall. Like, he's done a great job. Now look, the Lurkers are sitting here on hold position. He scans, he sees it before he charges in, and still trying to go for it. He does have that Valkyrie to really help reduce the Mutalisk count, but he's not going to quite be able to break through this. And in fact, he's got to save those medics, man. You can't be wasting this meta units.
Dude, it was in a pretty abysmal fight, to be totally honest. The ground forces were wrecked. I think he might have killed one Lurker. I see everything, but it was like certainly enough Lurkers to be a threat now. And, look, he killed 2 Valkyries, which is going to just reduce the count. I mean, right now, Zerg is in a very comfortable spot controlling this game.
Yeah, the game is very close to over at this point. Like, losing the 3 Valkyries as well. He should, like, if you have 3 Valkyries, you should massacre the Mutas. And he just didn't. Before Scourge came out, they got him. He lost his Bioforce there. These dropships are his last hurrah, to be honest.
Yeah.
The Lurker Contain that's out there is not something you want to break with Bio.
Yeah, man. A double drop here. Now, this could actually turn the whole game around. I don't see Scourge down here.
It needs to land, though. Like, this has to do it.
Well, I see them. Oh! That was so funny. He was hiding behind the picture of the pro gamer. I almost choked as I was swallowing my water. Well, I mean, 1 is not enough. You can fight whatever's going to come out here. And in fact, it's not even going to unload. It's just, 2 medics and a Marine. And, I mean, it's almost impossible to win from here.
Oh, yes. I would say it's beyond that. Like, Sacsri is up supply, right? It's 92 against 75. That is insane. Look, he's trying to get a siege tank out now. I don't even know if that's going to be blocked by the add-on in the ramp. But look at how many lurkers. You can't break through that with a siege tank. The Defilers will be here. The game is very much over, and Oregon knows.
Yeah, I think Oregon had some cool ideas. A lot of this goes back to that initial big attack that we saw there, where it's like, all right, now you've kind of made it do or die, and it's die for you, man. You attacked and you lost the bulk of your army. Zerg didn't really lose anything for that. You lost all the momentum. And, you know, that kind of forced Oregon to get into even more dramatic play here. This is going to end on Guardians, so style points for Saxory. We don't get to see Guardians very often in ASL, but this is definitely a moment where I think it makes sense when the Valkyries all shut down. But, yeah, you know, oh, that's so funny. Is that stuck there, that tank?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
It's just, I mean, it would be hard for this to be a worse position.
Yeah.
Like, Oregon can die to everything right now. The Defilers can kill him, the Lurkers can kill him, the Guardians can kill him.
It's so funny when you're
and any combination, like he's so dead. It's
you just
insane.
look at that many Lurkers outside your base, you're like, oh no, this is not going well. I'm losing, and everybody's watching this. This sucks.
Yeah, look at this. He's trying to stim in against the Guardians. Like, the Guardians just pull back to the Lurkers. Oh, and now Dark Swarm. Okay. GG.
Yeah.
This is more than over. Very nicely done from Saxory. Like, I think overall the big arcs of this game, Saxory showed, like, almost perfectly textbook. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you hold the initial push. This is your follow-up here with the Lurkers, and, I mean, even the Guardians are strong against any siege tanks trying to push this back.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a great example of a Zerg that knew when to fight, knew when to back up, and I think Oregon made the game a lot harder for himself after that big attack, but look, Oregon's going to be our first guy who's eliminated here. Isn't that funny? A Scourge and a Devour, that's how you one-shot a raid. Now we learned another thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not something that you see every day, that's for sure.
But you know who knows it? Saxory knows it, and we're seeing it there now.
Yeah, I guess so. It's better than the Muta. But yeah, everything's dead. It's almost surprising at this point that Oregon is remaining in this game. But Saxory is just going to shove everything up his ramp at this point. And, I mean, he opened reasonably well and everything. I like how he got the first couple mutas with the stim rundown. But yeah, the attacks did not pay off. And now Saxory's going to go to the final match. Oregon, unfortunately, our first player eliminated. But when you look at it, honestly, one of the weakest players in the season.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge surprise that he's going to be the first to fall out of a strong group.
Well,
like
it's, you know, sizing up to be, you know, another good ASL. Oregon knocked out. It's kind of what we expect. I wish him better luck next time, but if someone had to fall, like we said at the start here, it's going to be Oregon. But here's what's interesting. Mini versus Saxory should be a great match. And who knows, maybe Saxory beats Mini, and we have an insane upset to start this ASL off.
Yeah, that would be one of the biggest upsets you could get, but Mini gets upset sometimes. Like, he's out there. He's on the fringe with all of his builds, all of his strats. Like, you saw it against Best. He opens up with 4 DTs against 3-Gate Observer. He almost took it. He did a good job, but sometimes you're going to lose these games. And Saxory is someone that can have a strong opener and maybe get that edge in a best-of-1.
Yeah, man. I think, again, like we said before, Saxory's basically capable of beating anybody. And so, what an exciting match to end this Group A, guys. Shortly here, we're going to be going to a break. And when we come back, Saxory versus Mini. One will be knocked out of the ASL. The other goes to the next phase of the tournament. We'll be right back after this short break.
맥스. 칼로리 X. 맛있는 탐스. 제로. 요즘 제일 탐나는 제로. 탐스 제로. 같이 떠나볼래?
아침은 라떼, 홀릭 점심은 라떼, 홀릭 저녁은 라떼, 홀릭 둥글하게 달콤하게 라떼 홀릭. 달달한 충전이 필요할 땐 칸타타 라떼 홀릭.
Okay, guys, it's time to start this final match. This is probably going to be the best little battle we have for the whole Group A, I think. Right, Tastosis?
Yeah, probably. And it's a great map for it as well. We're going to have Mini going up against Sacsri in a best-of-1 on Sylphid 3. So I'm looking here. Okay, it looks to me... Okay. How is this
You're like really
different
putting
from the
yourself on the
previous
spot here,
Sylphid maps?
Tastosis.
Well, I'm trying to see what the actual difference is, and I'm not like seeing it right away here. There might be like some differences in buildable terrain or something
I
like
think
that.
it has to do with the middle of the map. I'm not sure. Maybe some buildable terrain there. I'm not. It looks very much like the original Sylphid. It's got the same entrances. It seems like the natural entrances are the same size as well, but you know, sometimes they make these small adjustments. Well, it looks like, what do they do? I think we can learn this from here. They're drawing on the screen.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I tell you, a lot of times when they're drawn on the screen, I'm just like, what are you even talking about here? What is...
Oh,
why did
I
you
think I see it,
draw like a
Artosis.
bird's
Okay,
beak?
look behind the naturals. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So the bottom right natural doesn't have any obstructions, but the other naturals... Yeah, behind the naturals, there's not as much obstructions. So you can see through them, right?
Oh, yes, you're definitely right about that. I see that now. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, before, the natural at 3 o'clock was almost impossible to defend against Mutalisks. And there was one patch at the bottom right that was impossible to defend against Mutas. Like, literally, turrets just weren't hitting anything. So there was, like, a few issues for Terran vs. Zerg. Terran vs. Zerg has become a little bit finicky for natural mineral placement compared to walls because the Mutas are so insane at this point. So I think that might be part of what they fixed. But I don't know exactly how much it's going to end up affecting this match, a PVZ.
Yeah, let's see where this goes exactly. Now, Mini, again, he's coming back after basically failing in the last ASL after, you know, everybody is so excited to see, you know, how far could this guy go? You know, maybe he is the best Protoss of all time. But he has to beat Sacsry. Saxory's a very crafty Zerg. He could go for a cheese here. It could be a just delicious macro game between these two. I think no matter how you cut it, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I am definitely ready for this. What do you think, Tastosis? What's percentage chance for Mini?
Maybe 65% Mini? What do you think?
I'm going with only 57%.
You're so brave. All right, guys, the final match of Group A starts now. Let's go.
So we have Mini up at 12 o'clock, and over here at 9 o'clock, we have Saxory.
So we want to watch now and see, you know, is Mini going to do anything cheesy at all? I don't think he will. And the same thing for Saxory. You know, these two guys have this best of one. It's do or die. These are two great players. Obviously, Mini sort of outshines pretty much any StarCraft 1 player there is, right? There's, you know, he's like up there with maybe 5 or 6 other guys who are just godlike in the current modern StarCraft. Mini, of course, goes for a pylon expand. The question is it going to be Forge or is it going to be Gate? With the probe going back, it looks like it should be a Gate expand.
Yeah, it definitely does look that way. I think that this is probably a smart play from Mini. If you must win one game against Saxory on this map, I do feel like Mini is much better at gateway openers, to be honest. He doesn't, like, obviously he can do anything, but I feel like he knows what to do with those Zealots and everything better than anyone else.
Yeah, I think the gateway openers basically allow the Protoss to create opportunities that might not have been there with a Forge opening.
Tasteless. This looks like it's a Nexus
I
first.
cannot believe this.
And Sacsri went 9 pool.
So, you know what the next thing I was going to say was, Artosis? I was going to say, well, one thing it can't be is Nexus first, because that would, especially on this map, seem to be very unsafe.
Dude, he can't help himself but to take massive risks.
Why would he do this, dude? Oh, I'm so mad. As a Protoss player, I'm so mad right now. I'm clenching my fists. My little toes are making fists right now on my feet. I'm like, oh, why would you do that?
Dude, I mean, he's dead, right?
Well,
like, doesn't 9 pool speed just kill this?
So that was, I think it was 12-12, right? Nexus 12. I mean, look.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. I was too busy making balls of fists with my hands and feet. But, I mean, the Lings are already out, and the Forge isn't actually done yet. Now,
he goes the wrong way, Tasteless! You might still have another Protoss in the ASL.
I can't believe this. I almost want to turn this off right now and walk away from this. I'm like just in disbelief.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I mean, this is just gonna be. This is like literally like a nightmare a pro Zerg would have, is 9 pooling and then finding out they went Nexus first and not getting there on time, and then you're in your underwear and you're in your high school class and everybody's laughing at you.
Dude, this is crazy that he went in the wrong direction on a 3-player map. He had 50% chance, and now he has the build that's supposed to win the game, and instead, he's just a little bit too late.
Now he's gonna. Now hold on, don't count him out until we confirm the Lings don't get in here. 2 Lings can still make a difference.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make a hell of a difference. That's for sure.
Oh, this is big. If he kills the drone.
Oh my god.
Keep in mind, you do not have a lot of workers when you 9 pool, so like losing a drone, it's like a pretty big deal.
I can't even believe what I'm looking at, Tasteless. A moment ago, we were like, why does he do this? Why does... Like, we don't have that many Protoss in the season anyways. And then he's like, it's okay. Nothing counters Nexus first.
You watch, he's going to win this season,
what?
and it's like we're in the wrong timeline. Like, this was the, somehow this is the one where the Zerg scouted the wrong way, and the Zerg, like, basically let the Protoss live in the only way that shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. So I just want to say this. If Saxory wins this game, truly nothing means anything anymore.
Yeah.
Okay? Truly, like, nothing anyone does in StarCraft has meaning. This is actually, we finally figured out that this is just a great big gamble game, and Flash is the greatest gambler. Because, like, I mean, if you go 9 pool speed and you literally don't do anything against a Nexus first, that has to be the worst thing in the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, this has basically become Craps, the build order game. I mean, this is just... I can't even believe that we're in this game right now. By the way, the 2 Zealots are coming down here. I only see 4 Lings on the map.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, is there? Okay, 6 Lings here. 2 Zealots just going to go behind. Oh, man, those things are invincible. Look at that little location.
That's their home now.
And, well, Hydralisk Den coming up. So it looks like Saxory wants to try to all-in from here, a 3-hatch Hydra build. And we'll see if that's going to be enough. Those 2 Zealots are going to make it a little bit hard to pull off.
Yeah, whenever they get Zealots wedged into a position like this, obviously they're not doing damage, but they basically observe one of the production facilities of the Zerg, right? And so they can come out and kill the drone if they want. They're going to go back. If you see a Hydra hatch, sound the alarms, man. And you might say, well, why not just not make a Hydra there? Okay, fine, but you're only making Hydras from 1 of 3 locations. And you need those Hydras basically immediately if you're going to be viable in the game. Otherwise, your rush is going to fail, and you tech too fast, and the Protoss is ahead in every possible way.
And you have to make something there, right? You can't just leave 0 larva. 3 more Zealots coming out now. There is a fair amount of Lings, but, I mean, 5 Zealots together would definitely beat those. pulls out with these two once again as the other lings run away. Zealot's going to run up to the mineral patches and close themselves off as much as is possible. Mini with some nice micro, but of course these will be picked off.
Yeah, he does get the surround on those. Nicely done. He's still hiding the Hydras. But, I mean, these Zealots, it's going to be a big scout, man. He's got to get the block. He's got to get the block. Okay, he sees it.
Ooh, yeah, that's a pretty big scout right there. The Zealot actually going after drones in the natural. Now, Mini just has to make a few more cannons at home, and he should be good
Yeah,
to go.
there's not much more to it, Artosis. You know, he's got to get the defenses up he needs. I see 2 more cannons making. Now, keep in mind, Protoss is still dying at this, but usually the way Protoss wins this is they get the cannons up. His cannons are pretty awfully forward, aren't they? Like, when the cannons are right
they're
up,
pretty far forward.
When they're that close, the Hydras can kind of shoot over the forge and kill them, so I guess you don't have a lot of room to work with, though.
Yeah, he doesn't, but, like, I don't think he can't possibly break this, right? Like, it's going to be 5 cannons in a moment. There's only 5 Hydras here so far. Like, there's a decent amount of lings, but there's actually Zealots here to help tank that as well. Look at this, a counterattack.
Look at this cool counterattack. It's just 1 Zealot and 2 Corsairs.
It's perfect. I mean, Sacsri has to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah.
Like, he has to go.
Well, he can't go back and deal with this, man. Oh, he dropped 2. He taps out. Wow.
Yeah.
When the gamble wins. And look, even Mini knows, like, okay, I'm moving on. You know, I got to go back to, you know, the decision-making. Why? Why go for Nexus Forge? I mean, look, 9-pull Speedling, it's not as common in the highest level play, but it is a build. It is a build. And you know why? Because too many Protosses get too greedy, and you got to punish them. But on that map, man, you better drone scout at least.
Yeah. Sacsri maybe being just slightly too greedy as well because the coin flip of where Mini is at, he lost that. He went in the wrong direction. It delayed him quite a bit. It's a big delay right there. And if he had been there, 20 seconds faster or something, he's going to start chomping through probes. There might not be enough to stop a Ling run by. Maybe the Lings can get on the cannon. And the game might have been his. He might have been in the next round. So, some unfortunate events here for Sacsri. Mini just squeezing through with that Nexus first.
It's so funny. I mean, talk about drama at the start of that game. That's wild. Okay, but look, Mini goes on. That's the most important thing here. Mini, again, a real contender to take this whole tournament. I'm interested to hear what he has to say in this interview.
하식스와 함께하는 ASL 시즌14 24강 개막전 경기 모두 만나보셨습니다. 오늘의 두 번째 16강 진출자 변현재 선수와 함께하시죠. 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
많은 것들이 궁금합니다. 변현재 선수. 먼저 이혜원 선수와의 최종전 이야기를 좀 해봐야 될 것 같아요. 사실 소감보다 이게 더 궁금하긴 한데요. 최종전 단판이잖아요. 더블 렉서스를 어떻게 선택을 하신 건지.
제가 그래도 초반에 좀 저글링을 잘 막는다고 생각을 해가지고 구발을 할 거라고 생각을 못했어요. 그래도 좀 수비적으로 게임 할 줄 알았는데 오히려 공격적으로 해서 제가 당황했어요.
이전에 패자전에서 이혜원 선수의 경기력을 극찬한 변현재 선수였기 때문에 이 더블 렉서스 빌드 선택이 더 궁금했거든요. 근데 이혜원 선수의 저글링이 사실 바로 변현재 선수 쪽으로 향하지 못했어요. 5시 쪽으로 갔다가 가는 그 타이밍에 시간을 좀 벌 수 있었는데 저는 순간 투서지 타이밍까지 변현재 선수가 혹시 생각했나 막 이런 생각까지 했는데 구드론을 예상하기는 좀 힘들었군요.
네, 일단은 구드론도 예상하기 힘들었고 이제 마지막 경기에 좀 제가 자리운도 좀 좋았다고 생각을 해요. 제가 다른 자리고 상대가 뭐 12시였으면 또 8시를 빨리 볼 수 있거든요. 뭐 오버로드가. 욕서치에서 뭐 상관없지만 제가 구드론을 머릿속에 하나도 생각을 안 하고 준비를 했었거든요.
네.
근데 이제 보는 순간 발업 저글링도 이제 뒤늦게 생각을 해야 되는데 앞에 저글링을 서 있는 거 보고도 제가 좀 아무 생각이 없었던 것 같아요. 이제 또 잘 막아야 더 좋은 상황 나오는데 또 두기가 이제 지나가는 바람에 근데 좀 침착하게 잘 막았던 것 같아요.
그래서 16강 진출이 확정되고 나서 변현재 선수가 약간 굉장히 묘한 웃음을 좀 짓는 모습이 화면에 잡혔거든요. 어떤 의미의 웃음이었을까요?
진짜 천만다행이라 생각하고 제가 근데 이제 또 24강에서 이제 최종전으로 올라갈 때
네.
힘들게 올라갈 때 좀 잘 되더라고요. 그래가지고 좀 이번
네.
시즌 잘할 수 있을 거라는 생각이 들긴 해요.
생각이 납니다. 변현재 선수가 늘 최종전을 통해서 한 계단 한 계단 올라갔을 때 높은 곳까지 올라갔던 기억이 나는데 또 그런 좋은 징크스를 떠올리셨군요.
그래서 이제 그렇게 올라가면 솔직히 항상 좋겠다라고는 생각했거든요. 이제 게임도 한 게임 더 하는 거고 좀 힘들게 올라가면 16강이랑 8강을 좀 더 잘 준비할 수도 있는 것 같고 결국 결과적으로는 잘 된 것 같아요.
아이 그래도 단판에서 이렇게 힘들게 올라가는 게 와 정말 팬분들은 심장을 좀 부여잡았을 것 같아요. 변현재 선수의 이런 좀 예측하기 힘든 플레이 덕분에 24강 개막전이 조금 더 풍성해졌던 것 같은데요. 앞으로 그러면 조금 더 기대해봐도 좋을 경기력일 것 같거든요. 변현재 선수 각오가 어떠세요?
제가 항상 이제 24강 최종전으로 제가 단판이다 보니 좀 옛날엔 단판을 자신 있어 했는데 어느 순간 좀 무서워지더라고요. 그 순간 이제 좀 힘들게 올라가는 것 같은데 이제 힘들게 올라간 만큼 이제 좀 좋은 곳 높이 올라가야 될 것 같아요.
자신감을 충전하고 16강 조지병식 때도 뵙게 될 것 같은데요. 또 변현재 선수의 또 한 번의 우승을 기다리고 있을 팬분들에게도 한마디 해주시죠. 멀리서 오신 팬분들도 계시더라고요.
일단은 24강부터 이제 관중분들이 이제 오셔가지고 응원해 주시는데 좀 좋은 것 같고 이제 16강도 이제 많은 분들이랑 함께 했으면 좋겠어요. 그리고 이제 제가 이제 무친대에 들어갔는데 무친대 이제 봉준이 형이 좀 많이 배려를 해주더라고요. 이제 그리고 이제 또 토스 코치 분들이 이제 윤종이 형, 뭐 병구 형, 와치 형, 이제 뭐 덕이 다들 이제 제가 좀 ASL 좀 집중하라고 이제 많이 배려를 해줘가지고 좀 고맙다고 전하고 싶고 이제 이번에는 좀 높게 올라가야 될 것 같아요.
변현재 선수의 멋진 모습 이번 시즌에도 기대해 보겠습니다. 다시 한번 16강 진출 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
자, 이렇게 해서 24강 개막전 경기 오늘의 두 번째 진출자 변현재 선수와 함께했습니다.
All right, guys. Well, there we have it, man. I guess it's kind of the results. If you had to bet, if you had to guess who comes out, you probably put it in this order, right? Oregon goes out first, Sacsri second. Best is the first to advance. Actually, no, I guess Mini I would have thought would have advanced, right? And then Best after him. But anyways, the two Protosses move on.
Yeah. I mean, they're the best two players in the group. That last game felt like it could have gone either way. And yeah, there you have it. That's Group A. A beautiful start to the season. Good to see the strong favorites going through, so we have a strong next round in that round of 16. Group B is going to be Hero, Gameo, Shuttle, Barracks. I think this is quietly a very, very strong group. Gameo is always underrated. Shuttle, I think, is one of the strongest, smartest Protoss players. Barracks is a real up-and-comer in the Terran scene. And, of course, Hero, dude. If he's not top 4 in the world right now, I don't know what's what.
Yeah, this is definitely... you asked me earlier on what is maybe the most exciting group. Actually, can I answer it now? I think it's this one, Tastosis.
You think so? I mean, maybe. It's going to be a good one, I think. Like, I could see everyone possibly beating everyone.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call. And I mean, Gameo looked very strong last season. Really intimidating play. And I mean, Hero, Shuttle, Barracks, if you followed ASL, all these guys are real threats. I'm always wondering when Shuttle's going to have kind of like a major breakout performance. He's a very good player, but it seems like once we really got into ASL, he got outclassed by these other Protoss players.
That's funny and that's true because he's ASL Season 1 champ, but then everyone got into shape and it was like, you're not championship material, but he's definitely a very smart, very strong Protoss.
Artosis, any closing thoughts before we wrap up this first group of ASL?
No, thank you everyone for supporting the Patreon, and this is great. I'm just glad to be back.
It's good to be back, guys. We love you. We're gonna get Group B recorded as soon as possible, and it'll be out as soon as possible as well. We love you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are.